Hey, hey, what's going on, guys? Sorry, I was the first. You know how it is when you first start talking and you don't clear your throat properly. So I just sounded like a complete idiot just now. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Good to see you, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I want to say welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I see a lot of you are in here already. Miss Bird and RPC. I see you and Rosa from Modesto, California. Shout out the city you're from. Also, if you have a business, shout out the name of your business. Constance says glory to glory. Well, glory to you as well. Good to see everybody. All right, so today what I'm going to talk to you all about is a study that shows, surprisingly to some of you, that couples who actually merge their finances show a lot more satisfaction in their relationships. And I'm not only going to tell you what the results are, but exactly why this happens. And then also, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll give you some stocks that I'm investing in that I just bought right now that look like they're going to be pretty good investments. And so do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe right now. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because this is the Black Love and Relationship channel that I actually have with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. In case you don't know, my wife is, to me, she is as beautiful as the day is long, and she is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And she works with me to basically help to heal the community when it comes to the way we look at money and our relationships and everything else. She has helped us to establish in the Black Business School the first ever Black financial therapy department. How cool is that? There is no Black financial therapy department anywhere on the planet. We started the first one because we realized that it is undiagnosed, untreated trauma that causes not only our relationship problems, but also our financial problems. And so anyway, if you could make sure you hit that button and make sure you subscribe. And also her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. That's where she actually sees clients on an individual and collective basis. So feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. Okay, guys, so let me hop into the crux of this study. It was really, really interesting. And basically what they found is that there were that couples that split their financial responsibility, that merge their finances together, are happier than couples that don't do that. And I think this is really interesting considering all the debates online. Let me know if you've seen them, all the debates about 50-50 this and 50-50 that, and who should have responsibility for the finances and stuff like that. Well, the studies pretty much show that when couples merge their money together and they work together as a team, they're not only better off financially, but they're actually happier. In fact, basically, or one of the major reasons that they're happier is that something about merging your money together increases your trust and commitment. It says here that merging finances can signify trust and commitment between partners. It often requires open communication about income, debts, spending habits, etc., which can strengthen the relationship. Surprise, surprise. How many of y'all are not surprised at all that trust, commitment, and communication are not important in relationships? How many of you kind of expected that? Let me know. Give me a yes if you kind of expected that trust, commitment, and communication might play a part in a healthy relationship. Well, this is not a surprise. I will put this in the no duh category. And apparently, when you're merging your finances, you both have skin in the game. You're both being transparent with each other, and that apparently seems to go a long way. Now, there actually wrote a book about love and money years ago called Financial Lovemaking, and you guys can have it for free. If you want a hard copy, it's available at drboycebooks.com. But if you want the free copy, just go to boyceandalicia.com, boyceandalicia.com, and you can get a free e-copy of this book. And one of the things that I talk about in this book, and I wrote this when I was on the faculty of Syracuse University, and one of the things that I cover in this book is the concept of getting financially naked with your partner. I talk about the fact that there are so many people that get financial STDs from their partners, and these are STDs you can't get rid of. These are STDs that have flare-ups for the rest of your life, and in many cases, it's because we did not take the time to really try to understand what we were getting into. A lot of times, think about this. Think about how many times people will sleep together, have kids together, even get married, and don't even know each other's credit score. Don't even know each other's credit score. Now, I'm not shaming you if you're in this category. I would say just join the club because a lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people don't know. They don't even know how much their partner owes in student loans. They don't know. Some people don't even know how much their partner makes for a living. They don't know how much money they've saved. They don't know if they own any assets. They don't know if they have any pending lawsuits. They don't know what their financial future looks like. And I don't know about y'all, but I kind of really think that just from a financial consciousness standpoint, we should probably take a moment and ask ourselves, is that a good idea? Yes or no? What do y'all think? Do you think that's a good idea to to tether your life to a person, to financially tether yourself to someone when you have no clue what they're into, how they're making their money, if they're making enough money, or what their financial future looks like? What do y'all think? Do you think that's smart or not so smart? I would say that it's not so smart. And Jody Ann, that's a great point. She says a lot of men don't want to share this information. Oh, I'm gonna say, I hate to say it, but it almost sounds like that might not be the man for you. I know that. See, back in the day, there used to be. You know what? Check this out. So one day, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was scrolling through Instagram like a lot of us do, and I saw this beautiful, beautiful black woman that was singing a song and she was singing in like the 1940s. And I don't know the song. Some of y'all may know the song. I didn't know the lady. I didn't know the song. But the first words of the song were like, "Look at me, look at me." And she said something like, "I'm as happy as a bird in a tree," or something like that. Tell me who that is. Tell me who that singer is, because I know she's famous. I just didn't know who she was. Please help me fill the gap in my ignorance on this. Anyway, I was so intrigued with this beautiful black woman singing this amazing song in the 1940s that I looked her up. I don't remember her name, but I looked her up. And so I went on this little 3 a.m. internet quest to find out about this woman and find out who is this lady. She sings beautifully and she's such a pretty lady, and it's the 1940s. I wonder what her life was like. I wonder what her journey was like. So you know what I did? I do this a lot. I went and I read her whole Wikipedia page. I read about her whole life from the time she was born, what her parents were like, how she got discovered. She got discovered in the Apollo, like a lot of great singers do, and she eventually became super famous because eventually white people discovered her and she got a record deal. And she had all these marriages. She got married about 2 or 3 times, and I noticed that she lost all her money. Sarah Vaughan, thank you. And if I'm not mistaken, it looked to me, again, I'm not an expert on the life of Sarah Vaughan, but I remember seeing a lot of financial tragedy in her life because the men she trusted to manage her money had problems. I think one of them had a gambling issue, so she'd go make all this money as a singer, and he would go gamble it away. Another one was her manager, and he did something crazy with the money. I don't know if it involved drugs or something else. And I just thought about how sad it must have been for this poor lady who grew up in a space where if you are a woman making money, you just hand everything over to the man. And some of these men are just not, unfortunately, were just not worthy of leadership. They were just not in a position where they could be trusted as stewards of the family resources. And as a result of that, they ruined her. They ruined this poor lady financially multiple times. She would lose her fortune, regain it, then marry somebody else, then lose it all again. So that challenge she had with picking the right kind of man really messed her up financially. I don't know how much money she had when she died, but I remember it was very, very sad to read her story, right? So here's the thing. I don't want your story to be sad, and I don't know where you are in your life. Maybe you're already married, maybe you're not, maybe you're going to get married one day or whatever it is. But I would encourage you to add your financial health to part of as part of your assessment of whether or not a person even belongs in your life. Okay, can we at least agree that this makes sense? Give me a yes if this makes sense. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I see. All right. So if you allow me to, I wanted to thank some of the people that are helping us kind of pay the bills on the channel. And there's an awesome lady named Aisha Verzi, who is an extraordinary financial planner. She's a long-term supporter of the Black Business School, and I love her. She was at our Stock Options Summit in Los Angeles recently. And basically it says, if you're looking for a great financial advisor, Aisha is with Ethos. She's offering up to $2 million in term insurance with a staggering 95% approval rate, instant approval rate. Plus, you'll receive a free living trust and will, ensuring your financial security and peace of mind. Approval is quick and easy, taking just minutes. Don't miss out. You can connect with her by calling 626-340-5746. That's 626-340-5746. Now, this is not investing advice. I cannot vouch for everything. You have to do your own due diligence on this, but I like Aisha a lot, and I encourage you to give her a call, especially if you're working to put together your financial plan and prepare for your future. So I'm going to leave that number on the screen so you can reach out to Aisha if you'd like to talk. She's just a cool lady, and she'll talk to you about your finances. All right, so here is so the next reason that merging your finances with someone else tends to lead to a happier relationship is they also say that it simplifies the money management process. They said that managing finances together can simplify budgeting and financial planning. It can make it easier for couples to set and achieve common goals, such as saving for a home or planning for retirement. So effectively, what they're arguing here in this study is that when you are financially connected to someone, a good partner, someone that is trustworthy, someone who is solid, that it actually simplifies the planning process, which does make sense. You know, my wife and I, we kind of do the his, hers, and ours thing. We don't do we definitely don't do 50-50. We're not that petty with each other. We just kind of we kind of get in where we fit in. I know that I make the most money, so I cover most of the expenses. But then my wife is, she's that smart, strong, educated black woman that we all read about in the newspaper, and she's capable. She's very capable, and I am not old fashioned with that. I completely love it, respect it, and I admire it. So my wife steps in sometimes, and we go on a trip, and she says, "Hey, babe, I paid for the hotel. I got the Airbnb. Can you get the rental car?" Right? It'll be something like that, just teamwork, right? So ultimately, what they're saying is that if you have some sort of merger, like if you have a joint account that both of you have access to and have money in and are putting a stake in, maybe perhaps something that's proportionate to your income levels or whatever the case may be, that can simplify your money management process. So maybe having all your bills sort of come out of that one account might go a long way in terms of how you process your finances. Now, what I want to do really quick is you hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and also remind you that this podcast is on Spotify. Is I want to give you the first stock. I told you I would give you two stocks today that I just bought. One of them is AMD. AMD, that's the ticker symbol AMD. They're right there with NVIDIA competing in this whole AI race, making these amazing chips. And my research says that AMD is a stock that has tremendous potential for the future. Now, again, this is not investing advice, and nothing is guaranteed when it comes to investing. But most of my research says AMD has a bright future ahead of it. And so if you want to go take a look at AMD, feel free to do that. If you want to see what Dr. Boyce is buying, I make a list every week for the students. Feel free to go to drboycestocks.com. That's drboycestocks.com. And there's a bunch of them in there, and you can make some investments, and feel free to follow along. It's totally up to you. All right. So the third reason that merging finances can make a relationship better, according to these studies, is that it can reduce your financial stress. They said that when couples combine their resources, they may feel less individual financial pressure. Sharing financial responsibilities can distribute the burden and potentially reduce stress related to money. How about that? How about that? Isn't that a surprise? Isn't that shocking? I mean, really, let's think about how this, I never would have guessed. Who would have guessed that life is easier when you have somebody helping you out? Who would have guessed that the sport of economics is easier when it's played with a team as opposed to playing by yourself? Who would have guessed that the heavy burden of surviving in this crazy economy where inflation is through the roof and wages are not going up and corporations are not loyal and student loans are going crazy? Who would have guessed that in this difficult world that it would be easier if you had some help? Oh my God. Wow. I'm so shocked by this, that people who have help have less financial stress than people who don't. It didn't, I don't have to have a PhD to tell you this. I don't need to be a professor to break this down for you. I don't need to even have a bachelor's degree to explain to you that 2 plus 2 is 4 and that 2 plus 0 is 2. And then 2 minus 4 is -2. Some of y'all ain't even, not only are you not getting the plus 2, you're getting a -4. You're not only not aligning with somebody who can move you forward, you're aligning with people who can move you backward. I don't know what it is. Maybe she's cute, or maybe his sex is good, or maybe he's really romantic, or maybe she just makes you feel good. She smiles and you just melt with that smile, and you're willing to pay her bills for the rest of your life. I'm not judging that. I think that's fine. But I just want you to understand that 2 plus 2 is still always going to be 4. The math is always going to keep mathing, even when you fall in love. And so ultimately what they're saying here is that financial anxiety, which is a huge problem for a lot of people, when they do surveys, they find that millions of people are experiencing extreme amounts of financial anxiety. They said people who have a teammate have less financial anxiety than people who don't. And so if you're able to make that decision, and it doesn't have to just be romantic. I'm just even when you talk about the company you keep, the circles you roll in, whatever it is, having good teammates makes a massive difference when it comes to your financial outcomes. All right, let's keep going here. And by the way, my wife, who's a therapist, she actually did a whole workbook on financial stress and anxiety where you can kind of work through all that stuff like that. She has a lot of really good books. If you go to drboycebooks.com, to make it easy for you, I put my wife's stuff right there on my website. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com, and we have a whole love and money section on Dr. Boyce Books. It's a one-stop shop for Black wealth mastery, and we designed it specifically for Black people. We didn't design it for anybody else. You ain't got to be Black to come in there, but you're gonna see a whole lot of Black stuff if you get there. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com to take a look. All right, number 4. They said that alignment of financial goals. They said merging finances often encourages couples to discuss and align their financial goals. This alignment can reduce conflicts over money and ensure that both partners work toward the same objectives. So, what they're saying here is that when you merge finances, it encourages you to discuss communication, there's that word again, and align your financial goals. That means that we are in the same car. I'm not trying to drive north while you're driving south. I'm not trying to go east while you're going west. We're both going the same direction. And also, we have the same objectives. I think that's really important because if you have the same objective, then you can conquer the objective as a team. If I'm trying to do one thing and you're trying to do another thing, then we're doing two things. So perhaps when you're having these conversations before you align yourself with another human being, it might be important to understand not just what they're capable of achieving, but what their priorities are, how they view money, what they're doing with the money that they have. A lot of times I've seen men try to impress women by spending lots of money, and that's not impressive. If you're spending lots of money, that shouldn't impress anybody. That actually should show them that you're a financial fool. If you're spending lots of money to impress people, or if you are a person, so the fool is not just the person spending all the money. The fool is also the person who's impressed by the fact that you're spending all the money. There's nothing impressive about giving away all the resources. That's not impressive to me. And so really, I would encourage you to really think about not just what you're looking for, but also what priorities, what value systems that other party may have, and make sure that that's in alignment with the things that you understand and that you agree with. I sat with a couple when I wrote my book, Financial Lovemaking. I sat with a couple in the Bronx, and the wife was a bus driver in the New York City transit system. She'd been doing that for 30 years. The husband also was a worker for the city, and he was actually in hip hop in the early days. He in the 1970s and 80s, he was friends with people like DJ Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, KRS-One. I mean, he was right there in the epicenter of the beginning of hip hop. Like when they did those hip hop history books, they would put his flyers in the books because he would have these parties, these rap parties and DJ parties that people would come to. And he always had a regret, and his biggest regret was that he never ever pursued his interest in becoming a hip hop artist or become a businessman in that whole hip hop party space. He feels like he kind of missed out when Russell Simmons and all those guys kind of took off and did great things. He felt like he should have been a part of that. Well, anyway, he chose love over career, and he married his beautiful wife, and they had beautiful children. But he always had this regret that he never participated in the early stages of hip hop. So what he did, here's what happened. This was really crazy. So the couple had this credit card that was maxed out to like $10,000 or $12,000. And the wife and the husband had worked together really hard to pay down this credit card. It took them a couple of years to pay it down to zero. Well, the husband, without asking the wife's permission, without even talking to his wife, takes the credit card and maxes out the credit card to basically host some kind of a party, some sort of a hip hop party that he thought was going to make a whole bunch of money. Well, unfortunately, the party didn't make any money and they lost all this money. So I'm sitting there with this couple as they're trying to decide what to do. I mean, there's lots of tears and she's devastated and she's thinking about divorce and everything else. And I remember feeling very sad for everyone. I felt very sad for the wife, obviously, because she had worked so hard to help pay down this credit card and to have her husband go behind her back and max out the card again. But then I felt very bad for the husband too, because he was this man that was sort of living with these broken dreams that he sacrificed in order to become a husband and a father. And so these little dynamics can pop up in relationships where maybe someone has this dream that they never got a chance to pursue, or a dream that they're willing to sacrifice everything for, and the other party isn't interested, and it just becomes torture for everybody. It really becomes torture for everybody. I remember when I was trying to become an entrepreneur. And I remember how I used to have to spend every penny I had to get my dream off the ground. If I made $8,000 that month, I might spend $7,895 to pursue whatever I was trying to pursue. And I don't really know how my wife would have felt about that. And so if I'd gotten married at that time, I would have probably needed to choose a wife who, number one, had a big risk tolerance, right? Someone who was able to really go in the fire with me and not get scared. A lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people can't stand the rain. There's sunny days, everybody loves them, but tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? A lot of people don't want to hear that their husband spent 99% of the family's income pursuing some sort of a pipe dream. And then number two, maybe someone who had something to complement what I was doing. So maybe somebody who already had some resources and was well established and simply said, hey, babe, you do your thing. I'll support you. I'll have your back. I'm going to reduce your risk by being a backup in case things go wrong, right? So ultimately, it's not a matter of saying that there's a clear right or wrong in terms of how you should make these connections. It's really a matter of saying, did I even think about it? Was I conscious of this? Did I process all these things, or did I just sort of dive into situations and not really think about it? I hope that makes sense. I hope that you guys are getting that, because I don't want to tell anybody what to do. The only thing I'm telling you to do is think about it. All I'm telling you to do is be financially conscious. And in case you don't know, we actually do financial consciousness training. It's a free class in the Black Business School, free to the public. You can join us every morning. If you text the word morning to the number 87948, text morning to 87948, and I will invite you to our Money in the Morning financial consciousness training. And you guys are going to love it. And then also, again, if you will allow me, I want to thank another sponsor that's helping us pay the bills on this podcast. And this company is Root Force Publications. And basically, the African, it's an African-American writers platform. Let's see, Raheem Cox. He's a mental health genius, according to what I'm seeing here. His website is rootforcepublications.com. He has a lot of creative offerings. You can check out his podcast, Cold Sauce, for groundbreaking mental health discussions, and Hot Feed for the top 10 news briefings, perfect for when you're on the move. Plus, Raheem offers unique consignment opportunities for his books and DVDs, ideal for students and vendors starting out. Don't miss the chance to support and learn more at Root Force Publications. So that's rootforcepublications.com. So if you could take a second and just go peek out that Black-owned business. I don't know a ton about these companies in terms of exactly what they do, but I do know they're supporting the Black Business School. So I hope you'll go take a look and let me know what you think about their platform. So rootforcepublications.com. All right. So here's another couple of reasons why. I'm gonna give you a couple more reasons why merging finances tends to lead to happier couples. And then I'm going to give you that second stock that I mentioned. The stock I mentioned earlier was AMD. Somebody type AMD in the chat. That's the stock that I mentioned that I actually just bought. And so I believe the stock is going to do well in the next 3 to 5 years. These are long-term investments, but this is not investing advice. Number 5 is increased relationship equality. They said joint finances can foster a sense of equality in relationships. It can help balance any power dynamics that might exist when one partner earns more money than the other. Now, that's an interesting thing because financial abuse is very, very real. There are people who will make more money than you and hold it over your head and make you feel like crap. There are people who will use the money that they have to literally beat you upside the head, make you feel terrible every chance they get. There are women who might make more money than the man and completely humiliate, dehumanize, emasculate that man every day of the week. There are men who make more money than women who will literally say, if you leave me, there's nowhere you can go. And that's why you got to stay because I have all the money. Now, if you love your son and you love your daughter, you will not subject them to any of this nonsense. I believe strongly that young girls need to be taught about money because I think all young girls should have options. I also think that young black men should have options, and older black men. I just think black men are happier when we have options, and we're depressed when we don't. And so ultimately, when you talk about things like financial abuse in relationships, a lot of times it typically starts with one person having a whole lot more money than the other. It's one person thinking that I'm bringing more to the table than you. What are you bringing to the table? You ain't bringing nothing to the table. And those are weird conversations, right? I would say also remember that there are things you can bring to the table other than just money, of course, right? If someone's giving birth to your kids, that's quite a bit to bring to the table. Money cannot buy the birth of your child. Money cannot buy human life. Money cannot buy that those little humans that came out of her body. So I kind of believe that that's sacred. But maybe people think I'm old fashioned or they think I'm simping when I say that. But I don't care. Just call me simp of the year because you know what? I honor any woman that's willing to go through the torture of having my baby. Shoot, I mean, think about it. Imagine if men had to have all the kids. If men had the kids, there would be no children. The human population would cease to exist if we had to go through the torture of even having one child in our lifetime. So thank you to the mothers who give us life, and I believe that you are sacred, and I believe that the world should respect you. And I've been pissed off to no end that we allowed somebody to bastardize hip hop music and train so many young black men to disrespect black women on a regular basis. I think that's dastardly and embarrassing, and it's not a reflection of who we are. But I digress from that. With that being said, one of the things that they do say is that when both partners are able to participate in economic decision making, there is a sense of strength that each person gets to feel, a sense of equality. Everyone gets to feel like they're contributing. Nobody gets to hold anything over anybody's head. This is important. This is important. This is important. I knew a rich white boy when I was a kid, and his mama tried to kill herself. And I was like, why'd your mama try to kill herself? And you know how white people, anybody ever have white friends and you go to their house and their parents will talk to you like you're an adult? Has anybody ever had like they would talk to you about stuff that black parents don't talk about in front of the kids? Anybody ever have that experience? Like I learned so much from my white friends. Like I would go to their house and their parents would like their mom would be talking about the divorce, like he cheated and blah blah blah, like stuff that I didn't expect to hear as a 13-year-old. I don't know if anybody else ever had that experience, but if you really want to have an interesting experience as a kid, get some like white friends and go to their house. It was just different. It was different. So anyway, so I went to my friend's house, and she and his mother was had basically tried to kill herself, literally. And I was like, what happened? And the mom basically told me everything that happened. She was divorced. She said, my husband, when I was in college, he was going to be a dentist and make all this money. So I quit school because he was going to make all the money. And so that's what happened. She quit school. He becomes a dentist. They're living this wonderful life, right? Everything's happily ever after so far until she hits about 40. And so she's not in the workforce. She's living this nice suburban housewife life. And they've got, expensive cars and boats and everything else. And then he decides he wants to trade in his 40 for 220s. And so he basically starts having this affair with his secretary, who is half the age of his wife. And his wife can't leave because she has no money and no marketable skills. She can't go back into the workforce. How often have you seen that? How often have you seen that? So she was completely financially dependent on this man, and so he leaves. He takes off with his 24-year-old, and the wife is there with the two kids, sitting up in some expensive private school where the tuition's like $15,000-$20,000 a year, and she can't afford that. She can't afford to maintain the lifestyle that she had become accustomed to because this dude decided that he wasn't going to keep his commitment to his family, and as a result, she ends up trying to take her own life. And I never forgot that story. I never forgot that, and I remember thinking, gosh, I think this is why women need to have their own money. And I came to this conclusion when I was like 13 or 14 years old. And I'm not saying that, you should go through life saying, I don't need no man. I don't think that that's healthy either. But at the same time, some of these guys are bastards. And some of these women are bastards. Let's just be honest. You got bastards there. Don't marry a bastard. Right? That's how about that? How about that for a pack? Let's just not date the bastards. And the nice people, we always end up with the bastards, don't we? We always the nicer you are, the more of a magnet you become to all the horrible, crappy people in the world. So you got to be really careful. But anyway, with that said, though, I think that this really speaks to the reality of everybody kind of having their own financial plan. showing up as whole as you can to a relationship, having some sort of financial backup. And it also speaks to, even though there's a relatively immature conversation I've seen in some circles about marriage sort of being used as a way to get access to a man's money, I think that there is a reason to tie financial security to a relationship to make it a little more difficult for somebody to just drop everything and walk out on you. Right. So you lay down with somebody, you have a bunch of kids with that person, and then one day they just decide that they're bored and they want to go do something more fun. Well, what contracts and marriage forces them to do is it forces them to have to go through some extra steps in order to make that happen. And some of those steps have a financial cost tied to them, which does create a little bit of security. If you don't have that security, then really bad things can happen. I told you all that story about the guy who was in his 50s and he started dating this little 32-year-old thing, and a little young girl about the same age as his daughter. And the little 32-year-old thing fell in love with this older man. And I think older guys, we got our own little swag. We got a little bit of extra money, and we're smart. We got some wisdom, and so sometimes young girls, that young girls like that. And so anyway, he starts dating this young girl, and I think he really loved her, but his daughter hated her. His daughter couldn't stand this girl because they were about the same age. And so one day, even despite the fact that he believed age wasn't nothing but a number, the universe sometimes has a way of correcting you and reminding you that you really are 54 years old. You thought in your head you might have thought you were 24, but no, you're really 54. So we about to give you a stroke. We about to so that's what happened. We about to give you some high blood pressure and a stroke, which takes out a lot of black men in their 50s, right? So he has a stroke because of his high blood pressure, and he goes into a coma. And so during the time that he's in this coma, this poor 32-year-old girl is trying to figure out, how am I going to pay the bills now that this man who is my sole provider, who told me that marriage ain't nothing but a piece of paper, age ain't nothing but a number. Now all these things are starting to matter. Now age is more than a number, and marriage is more than a piece of paper, because she has no legal rights whatsoever, none, not nada. So what she does is she then goes and basically breaks into his phone so she can get access to his bank account. She takes the phone. This is a true story, by the way. This is a real. I told you all this story during financial consciousness training, but so forgive me if you've heard this before. I just think the story was very powerful and it's very real. It happened like 6 months ago, like, to a friend of mine. This is not something I read about. This is something I know about. So she puts the phone to his face, breaks into his bank account, right? So and gets the money out. Now, technically, you could say she wasn't doing anything wrong, kind of, because, or at least in her mind, maybe she felt like, well, he would be paying, if he was conscious, he'd be paying the bills. I'm just doing what he would do if he were conscious. Well, unfortunately, the law doesn't see things that way. So a few weeks later, he dies. He dies from his stroke after being in this coma. And then once he dies, everything, all bets are off. All connections and agreements you made, every promise that was made, every commitment he made to you is completely irrelevant, non-existent. In the court of law, it's as if it doesn't happen. As if it never happened. It's as if you are a complete stranger in his life and you have no connection to him whatsoever, because now the law is stepping in and looking at what's real versus what's not real. Your loyalty to this man was very real to you, but it wasn't real to the state. The state didn't give a damn how much of a ride or die you were, how many times you cooked his food, how much you loved this man, what you did for him. They didn't care. So they said, ma'am, I'm sorry. According to the state in the law, because he had no estate plan, because sometimes for some reason people die thinking they die with, they leave nothing, thinking that they're never going to die. And because he had no estate plan, they said everything he has goes to his daughter. Dun, dun, dun. The daughter gets everything? You mean the daughter that hates my guts? You mean the daughter who's dying to evict me from my house because that's her daddy's house, which is now her house? You mean the daughter who's going to do an investigation into the bank account and find out who took $40,000 out of her daddy's bank account while he was in a coma? You mean the daughter who can't stand my ass, who would lock me up under the jail if she could? Yeah, that daughter. That's who's going to get everything. She's got all the power now. So this man who supposedly loved you left you assed out. You have no rights. If he were alive, he would be defending you. He'd say, "No, don't do that. I love this woman," but no, because he told you that marriage wasn't nothing but a piece of paper, age ain't nothing but a number, and I'm gonna be here forever to take care of you, and you believe that. So as a result, the daughter goes in, she immediately evicts the girlfriend from her house and making her homeless, and then she calls the sheriff's office also and informs them that after they evict her, they need to arrest her because she stole money out of his account. The end. The end. That was her happily ever after. So this is real life, folks. I mean, this is life, man. Like, and I'm gonna tell you, I would encourage you to try to go through life as a grown up. Actually, my wife, she does these book clubs, and I think that literally the book that they're going through right now is something like um relationship having relationships as a grown-up or doing relationships as a grown-up or something like that, and really the thing is that there are some people who do their relationships like children and some people who grow up and look at the world for what it is and make grown-up decisions, and I just really encourage you to really make that distinction. And so because it does get to a point where it gets real. That's my 2 cents. I hope that story helps you. I don't want it to scare you, but I hope it gives you something to think about. Okay. So you don't have to agree with me. I just want to share that with you in case it helps somebody out there. All right. Now, if you will please allow me, please do me a quick favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget you are watching the Love and Money channel that I have with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. She runs our Black Financial Therapy department in the Black Business School. And if you want to learn more about what she does, you can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. Or if you'd like a copy of my books or her books, you can go to drboycebooks.com. I also have financial flashcards and workbooks for children, things like that can help you, especially with summer coming. A lot of you have kids and you want to get your kids ahead. We have flashcard bundles and stuff like that. So just go to drboycebooks.com, and there's anything you want to do in terms of Black wealth, we got you. We are the Black wealth experts of the planet in the Black Business School. We'd love to help you out. All right, so let me do this last little point here, and then what I'm going to do is give you that second stock. Remember, the stock early was AMD, and I'll mention the second one in a second, but I want to mention the sixth reason why merging finances helps couples to have a more fulfilling relationship. And the sixth thing that they mention here is that when you merge your finances, you're better at handling financial emergencies. They said with combined finances, couples might be better prepared to handle unexpected financial challenges, providing a sense of security and support. And so one of the things that occurs when you have another person helping you financially is you have natural something in finance we call diversification. And natural diversification basically means you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Diversification means that you have a plan B. Diversification means that it's not falling all on you. Now, so here's where you're in a risky situation. If you're, say, a single mom who has one stream of income and no savings and no assets, no investments, and no side hustles, you're kind of in a vulnerable situation because if something happens to you, then everybody's in trouble. The whole house falls down, right? So maybe processing that and saying, gosh, I wonder what that looks like to provide some backups and some plan Bs. Right? So one good consciousness exercise you could try is to meditate and imagine if you died right now. Sit on the porch one day and just imagine, like, okay, I died right now. What would that look like? What would tomorrow look like? Would everybody be able to get what they needed? What would happen at the funeral? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay? Who's going to make sure these kids get fed? Who's going to make sure the mortgage gets paid? Who gets the house? Who gets the car? Who's going to handle the estate? What is there an estate in place? Did I leave adequate instructions? And the crazy thing that sucks about death, that's just terrible, is that death doesn't give you a do-over, right? It doesn't let you. It's not like you get to the pearly gates and God says, hey, okay, well, you didn't quite finish up that paperwork, so I'm going to let you go back for a day so you can sign those documents and get it. You can't do that. Your chance is now. Your opportunity is now. And so I would encourage you to really understand the power of now and just understand that also when you have good teammates around you, it can help you deal with financial emergencies a little bit better. And in fact, it doesn't have to just be a romantic relationship. There are more and more families where people are just getting together, like-minded people are just getting together and say, let's hold each other down. Literally, there are groups of single moms that get together and say, let's all just buy a house together and we're all going to be financially responsible. We're going to run this like a corporation and we're all going to pool our money together and buy us a big, gigantic house and raise our kids together together and live our lives together. That's doable. Like, that's a model. Or two people who are not even married, maybe two people that don't even want to date each other. I've seen that happen, right? So I think being creative in this economy is really essential to survival. I think also being creative can open a pathway to prosperity that may not have existed for people that live their lives inside a box. I don't think you want to live your life inside a box. I think you want to live your life free. I think you want to live your life with a broad perspective. And I think you want to live your life in a way where you solve the problem in whatever way you need to solve it. And I would encourage you, don't let nobody judge you or tell you how you're supposed to do it. You take in all the information, process the life that you want to live, and then figure out how to make that stuff work. The answers are out there, but don't follow everybody else, because a lot of these people out here are drowning. They drowning in bad relationships. They're drowning in bad financial situations. They're drowning in lots of stress. They're drowning because Mr. Charlie at the job got his foot on their neck. They're drowning because nobody prepared them for the future, and the future is now. They're drowning. Some of them are drowning and don't even know why they're drowning. They don't even have enough consciousness to know what's happening around them. They're watching shade room videos and in constant pain and stress and don't even know why. They don't even know what's happening. It's just happening. They just know something bad's happening, but they don't even know what it is. So be more conscious than that. I encourage you to really sit and think about that. Look at your life. Think about it. Figure out how to get where you want to be. Okay. That's all I got to say. I'm going to give you guys this stock. Okay, so the stock that I like, the other stock I just bought, again, this is not investing advice. Give me a yes if you understand that, because sometimes I share stuff and then people think that I'm telling the black community what to do. I ain't telling nobody what to do. I'm telling you what I'm about to do. Because just like I want you to go take care of your family, I'm just taking care of mine. So let me know if you understand. This is not investing advice. This is just me sharing some information that I found in my research. There's a company called Sonova, Nova. The ticker symbol's Nova. It looks to me like an asset that has tremendous potential over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, I invest in thousands of stocks, but Sonova Energy, it's only $4.81 a share. And I like the company. It looks like it has potential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dollar cost average my way into Sonova and see what the universe brings me. But this, based on my research, this stock appears to have plenty of upside. There's going to be an energy crisis in the future because there is a massive energy demand that is occurring because of AI. Artificial intelligence is sucking up electricity and all kinds of power around the world. And I believe Sonova Energy is one of the companies that can possibly benefit from this energy situation, if you will. All right. And also, if you allow me to, as you hit the thumbs up button, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is the channel I have with my wife. This is our Love and Money channel. And also, if you'd like a free copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, as a gift, just go to boyceandalicia.com. That's boyceandalicia.com. Or you can also text the word love to 87948. And if you text love to 87948, we'll send you some stuff on love and money. My wife is an expert on relationships. I'm an expert on money. And so we have something called the Love and Money Lab, where we bring together real science that actually works, that will help you to have a better love life and a better financial life, and to blend those two together. Your love life should accelerate your financial life, not take away from it. And also your financial life should accelerate your love life, not take away from it. But if you don't manage those two accurately and carefully, they can crash into each other and cause lots of chaos, which is why you look on the internet and you see so many people saying, I won't go on a date with anybody because these women expect me to spend $150 and I don't have $150 because I want to take her to Cheesecake Factory and she thinks that makes me cheap. So ultimately these issues are solved by science. And my wife is an expert on this science. So if you want to hear from two professors who love each other, who have some ideas that may help you, feel free to text the word love to 87948. All right. So I'm going to get on out of here, guys. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that this discussion was beneficial to you. I'm going to be in Philadelphia for the Get Money Fest with Jay Ortiz. I love the fact that Jay Ortiz was a hip hop artist out there. He works heavily in hip hop and fashion and everything else. I'm happy to see that these young people in Philly are trying to become financially intelligent. So I decided to join them along with Madam President and Tierra KJ Williams and the Pish Posh Girl and a lot of great people out there. And it's going to be May 18th. And actually, I think they're letting everybody in for free. So if you're into art, fashion, music, and finances, then the Get Money Fest might be your thing. If you text the word money to 87948, I'll send you some information to join, or also you can join us tomorrow morning for Money in the Morning. All right, guys. So have a great day. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check back in with you a little bit later. And I hope this conversation was helpful to you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.